Hi everybody, and I want to welcome you to my YouTube channel. My name is Philip Bondi, and you are watching Philip Bondi. And today we're going to have a very special guest on with me. She's one of my former Zumba students and a good friend of mine, and she's also a theater arts major at Fresno State. She is an actress herself. Instructor.
Yes.
Not on her way to being a professor. Actress, and she also does acting coaching. So welcome, Leslie.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
This is actually the first video in our self-help series.
Yay.
So I'm really excited to have you here. What we're going to talk about today is basically the 5 things that will make someone a better actor or actress. So it's really calling out to people that are new to the acting world, or maybe want to get into acting, or want to improve their acting abilities. So go ahead, and when you're ready, go ahead and tell us what those 5 things are. We're excited to hear about them.
Well, there's a lot of them, but I'm going to pick 5 that I think are probably the most important.
Okay.
At least for today, and then it'll change tomorrow.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the best advice I can give someone is to be a good listener.
Okay, great.
A lot of times when you see bad acting, it's because the person hasn't been listening.
Oh, okay.
And so they're only reacting to what they think that they're seeing, or what they are transferring onto the other person, instead of hearing how somebody actually said something.
So they're basically not being perceptive to what's going on around them.
No, and they're not watching the other person. So you have to listen to how the person said it. For example, if you said to me, if we come into a room and I say to you, how are you doing, Philip? And you say, I'm fine. I have to hear that the tone. If I'm not listening to you, then my reaction is going to look false. And sometimes the audience member doesn't know why it's not playing. It doesn't seem real, but there's something wrong. It's because they're acting, they're not reacting.
Okay. That actually reminds me of a Carol Burnett episode where she played a bad actress.
Yes.
And she was rehearsing, and then she had Madeline Kahn as her acting coach. And Madeline Kahn is this overly dramatic, overly overbearing actress, and you're totally right. They were not perceptive of anything. The scene, what's going on, anything. So
absolutely.
That's what reminds me of that. Okay, cool. So number 2. What's number 2?
To learn how to be honest and truthful and still be exciting.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to give an example of, did you see Into the Woods?
Oh, I have not yet, no.
Okay.
It's on my list.
All right.
Cameron and I are going to go.
It's really good. Meryl Streep is great. And one of the things that she can do is she can play somebody like the witch, who is bigger than life, in this imaginary situation, and yet she's truthful.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes we forget that being truthful can be really exciting.
Yeah.
And the truth is sometimes the most exciting thing. And it's hard for actors to be truthful. They want to act like themselves, or comment, or they try to do all. I knew a guy who wanted to learn how to vomit on cue because he thought that would be exciting.
Right.
Well, that's just kind of like silly behavior.
And vomiting on, when do you ever just vomit on cue?
Yeah, well, he's
it never happens.
He's going to find a movie or play that would happen, but he couldn't just be honest.
Right.
And honesty in life is hard enough. We just were talking about that.
Yeah, we were. We actually were. We were having our gossip session.
So if you can't be honest in life, it's hard to be honest on stage.
Right.
So honest.
Yeah. All right, so 3. What's number 3?
To be empathetic.
Okay.
One thing that sometimes when I get acting students and they'll say, well, I would never play somebody like that because they've judged their character.
Oh.
You can't play somebody if you judge them. So you always have to be an advocate for your character to the point where you start defending them and you take their side. It doesn't matter what they do. For example, Hannibal Lecter, Silence of the Lambs.
Right.
You can't, if he's playing Hannibal Lecter, he can't say, well, I would never be a cannibal. When you're on film, you are a cannibal.
Yeah, he has to become that.
Find the positives in playing cannibal. What's good about being a cannibal? I know that sounds weird, but you have to.
No,
they call it playing your positives instead of playing the negatives. It's like if you can't respect somebody, you can't really be close to them. If you don't respect your character, you can't be close to your character.
You can't become the character, actually.
No, and you can't become them.
Yeah. That's interesting. I never thought of that, but it really is like judging a real person, even though it's just a character.
It is.
And that's so bizarre.
And when we judge, we can't be close.
So now, is that why so many actors and actresses do method acting? Because once they're in that character, they can stay.
Yes.
They can stay empathetic.
Yeah, and you can
Okay.
stay. I like to do things in character. So
Right.
I like to go out in character, or to a point.
Right.
There's crazy. It's like,
You can't be Virginia Woolf all the time.
No,
But
sometimes
she
you
did
do.
go.
Yeah,
She did some Virginia Woolf.
You do. You have to for a while. You have to be them. So it's like. But I think that you do that when you are friends with people too. You get in. You try to be in their shoes. When they tell you they have a problem, you say, "Oh, well, tell me about it." You do the same thing with your character.
Yeah. All right. So number 4.
We're on number 4.
I know.
Okay.
We're almost there.
Woohoo.
Can I say? I feel like James Lipton right now. I feel like being like, what's your favorite word?
When you go to heaven.
Yeah. What is God gonna say to you?
That's right. What's your favorite cuss word?
Yeah.
I'm not telling.
Yeah. Keep it a secret. Keep some mystery.
But it starts with mother.
Oh, I love it.
Okay. To be observant of behavior. What do people do when they're uncomfortable? Body language is a really big deal. What do human beings do? So sometimes, and this is all acting teachers, but we'll take you out in public and have you observe people's behavior. What do people do when they're uncomfortable? What's your body language? We all know how to do it. It's just that sometimes actors forget. So for example, if you're going on a date, here's an example, and they walk you to the door. If you don't like them, you will have crossed your arms over your body.
There's a body language response.
Yes, and you could be saying, "Oh, I had the best time. Oh, let's do it again." But you're completely closed off, and you have the key in the door.
Right. And if you're dating them, you certainly don't want them to kiss you, lean in and kiss you.
Absolutely. So
There's a defensive body language.
And when audience members see that, they say, "Well, they're saying one thing, but their body language is doing another." Now, if you do want to go on a date, your body's open. You're doing flirty type of behavior. So when I have students, I'll say, well, look what your body's doing now. You're saying this, but you're showing me that you hate that person because you completely focus the other way.
So it sounds to me like actors don't always know how to carry their body on stage to match the character and the emotion of the scene.
Yes. So
That's
your body has to be connected. If your body's not connected, and it's one thing, if you look at the news, you can turn the sound down. And if you have, unfortunately, you're watching a scene where people are traumatized or people are in an emergency situation.
That gets communicated.
But the body does it. So
Yeah.
actors have to realize that your body is important. I don't mean how good it looks, but that you know how to use it to convey the story as well. Yeah.
And then number 5. What's number 5?
Okay, so this isn't...
And by the way, those of you who are watching, I'm going to have on the screen, I'm going to list all the tips at the very end because I want to make sure you guys have them. You can write them down. So on the screen, you will see later on all the 5 tips listed, and you can write them down. So, okay, so go ahead.
Oh, that's right. And by the way, all this stuff that I'm saying, someone taught me. So I didn't come up with it. But these are just kind of true things that happen in acting. But there's a kind of acting coach. He's passed away, but he's really respected his way of teaching. And one of the things he said, his name is Sanford Meisner, and he said that the most important person on stage is the other person. And a lot of his exercises are about watching what other people do. And why that makes sense is because in life, we don't have a script. We have to react to what another person is doing.
Right.
When we're walking, they come here, we move this way, then they do that, and we moved it. So we're always reacting to something. When an actor thinks they're the most important person on stage, their performance can't grow. And I was lucky enough to work with an actor who's a professional actor when I was in grad school. And I loved him because he was the most generous actor. And what that means is he wasn't always thinking about him. He was thinking about the other person. And so sometimes actors love to hear themselves talk. You're probably thinking that shut up. But to listen and make the other person important. If you make them important, they will make you feel important.
Right.
It's kind of like when you date. If you treat somebody nicely, they'll do something back. And so it kind of takes away the I'm acting alone. Plus, people always say, "How do you cry? How do you get to where you cry?" Well, if I'm over here trying to, without any help from you, if I'm trying to cry like I'm trying to force it, it's probably not going to happen.
Right.
But if I'm listening to you and you're telling a story and I let you affect me, if I'm vulnerable to you, I don't have to work up the cry.
It happens.
It happens.
Yeah.
Just like in real life. It is.
And I think it'd be cool to see a drama that is unscripted for the most part, or has some basic stage direction, some basic scripting, but allows the actor to kind of come from the heart. I think it's harder to do with drama. I think it's easier with comedy.
Comedy is harder than drama.
You think?
Well, comedy is harder than drama as far as being able to execute it.
Okay.
Because it's all about timing.
Right.
If you don't have timing, you don't know when to say the lines and how to say them and how to build them.
Right.
But it is, most people when they do improv, they always go to comedy.
Right.
So they'll say, like when I have students do it, they first want to be funny. But it's interesting to see people do drama and improv, but people for some reason, but it's that one's harder because people naturally think of improv and humor.
Do you think for an actor or an actress that it's not everybody's funny in their real life?
Mm-hmm.
But do you think that in order to be able to really be able to execute comedy, you have to have and understand humor?
Yeah.
You can't fake it.
You can't fake it.
You know, so if you have someone who just doesn't really have a sense of humor, even if they're not a funny person in real life, but they have a sense of humor, they can understand how to execute the humor.
Have you ever seen people dance who can't hear the beat?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. This has been so much fun. And I want to thank our wonderful audience for listening. And I hope that this was helpful. I hope you can glean some things. Before we leave, though, I want to ask you, so based on those 5 tips for being a better actor, who are your 3 favorite actors? Or actresses. We're not going to be gender biased here.
Okay. I'm going to go back to an old actor.
Okay, I don't know who this is, but we'll try.
I think you might.
Okay, go ahead.
Jimmy Stewart.
I do know who Jimmy Stewart is, yes.
Okay. And the reason why is because Jimmy Stewart...
He was North by Northwest, right?
Mm-hmm. And he was It's a Wonderful Life.
I have not seen It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay.
Remember, I didn't grow up with Christmas.
Okay.
Which will be another video. That'll be another video for another time.
When we talk about religious cults, can
We were... Okay, for sure. We totally can. 5 steps for escaping a religious cult. I'm going to get right. People are going to write right into me. Be like,
I'm kidding.
Be like, you God-hating faggot. You know, they're going to be writing into horrible things to me.
No, they won't. Because if you watch him, he's really specific.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody from that time period was really stylistic, and the acting was kind of fake. He was very natural, and he's one of the first people on film who just played the character and didn't do like big crazy faces and this whole stylized thing. You know, he just was a guy.
He wasn't Mae West.
He wasn't Mae West. I love him. I love Gary Oldman because he's never looks the same in any.
I don't know if I've ever seen any of his work.
Okay, we're gonna do that.
Homework.
Yes, homework.
What was he in? If you don't, I might have seen some stuff. The name. I know the name, but I can't picture a face.
He was in. I think the first thing I saw him in that I was like blown away was Sid and Nancy, where he played Sid Vicious from.
I have not seen Sid and Nancy, but I know I've heard of it.
He's in The Dark Knight. He's Commissioner Gordon.
Oh.
But
okay,
then,
I know who that is.
But then he's also he was in a movie
he
called
really
True
does.
Romance.
He
where
really
plays
does
Ron.
transform. Then.
He's in Harry Potter. He's just in endless amounts of movies. Look him up. He looks different.
Because I know what the character Sid Vicious looked like. I don't know what. I mean, I'm not obviously different than the real Sid Vicious, but I know what the character. So he really does transform then.
He does, and I love Daniel Day-Lewis. Because he's again different. I'm always amazed at actors who transform themselves completely. Their hair, their look, their accent.
Oh, I know.
And it tends to sometimes be British actors are better at accents. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Please be sure to click the red subscribe button below this video. I update my videos Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. Like I said, we're going to have a self-help series. We also have a fitness series. Then we have my opinions, which are always welcomed, of course. And remember, this is the channel where we aren't lazy. We're just on energy-saving mode. That's my attempt at humor. Thank you so much. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, and comment. All right? Thank you very much.